Okay, so here we go. Here's the molds behind me. We're going to get them all together. We're going to glue them. We're going to start sanding. Get this stuff all ready for painting. And then I'll show you mold prep and all that. That'll all be in this video. Stay tuned, hang with me. Here I'm just sanding the end here with 120 grit sandpaper just to make sure that when I glue it, it has a good mechanical bond. All the molds will get this. together. There are some not perfect spots, but I'm going to fix those with sanding and spackle. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit the whole inside of this mold with 120 grit. And I'm going to knock everything down, get some of these print lines out. And all you're doing is trying to get some of the print lines out and get it ready for paint. Here, sanded. I'm going to clean this out now. I'm going to take it out and I'm going to wash it out with probably some mineral spirits or some alcohol. There's a few areas I still got to hit here, like down here. I'll probably do that now. But you can see she's all sanded. This is just, again, to get some of these print lines down. There's a few areas I got to pay attention to still. And I'm going to do that now. And but yeah, stay tuned. I'm going to probably put at least the first coat of paint on here, the primer. I'll let that dry. And yeah, and then I'll just, it's all sanding. I'm going to take this sanding and get this all cleaned out. But we are going to spackle. I got some areas, well, I got one area right here that's pretty good here, that's not great, so I'm going to spackle that a lot. Most of the mold came out, you can almost not even tell, but I'm still going to spackle all the joints to get them nice and smooth. So yeah, so stay tuned. I'll be starting to spackle. I'll be cleaning this out, and then we'll get that going. now. So what we're going to do now is we're going to spackle all the joints, let that dry, sand it. It'll probably take at least 3 or 4 times, 3 or 4 sandings to get it right. But that's what we're going to do now. So stay tuned and watch. We'll get that spackle in there, and we'll see how it goes. Sanded. We're going to take her outside and brush off all this dust. I'm going to see if that's good enough. I don't know if it's going to be good enough. I think it probably will. But I'm going to go over it one more time and just make sure before I put on that first coat. It came out better than I thought. I think we're done actually after that first pass. So I am actually going to get this outside. I'm going to paint this, and I'm going to get a first coat of paint on here. I'm going to wipe this off a little bit more, but I'm going to get a coat of paint on this. Once I get a coat of paint on it, I'll bring it back in here. I can't paint in here because it's too much of a confined space. But you can kind of see in there. Hope you can see in there anyway. Let's see here. Yeah, hopefully you can kind of see the mold here. And kind of see how it turned out. So I'm going to put a coat of paint on this, and I'm going to come back, and then we'll probably just spend the rest of the day painting. I'll show you once it's painted completely. I still have a little bit of sanding to do here, but once it's painted, I'll come back. I'll show you the first pass. You know how it looks after. I think I'm gonna do 4 coats of primer. I didn't really see, but I'm gonna put 4 coats of this stuff on. So the spackled areas came out actually pretty good. There was a couple little areas. I could also fix those once I cast it. So we're gonna do 3 more coats of this, and yeah, she should be ready to go. But I'm hoping you can see that. It's just that automotive primer sealer, that 2-in-1. It's Rust-Oleum 2-in-1 primer sealer. There's some areas in here, but they're actually filling in pretty good. So now I'm just going to let this dry for about a half hour, 45 minutes, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to do another coat, and hopefully I'll have all of my coats on tonight. And then I'll just leave it set overnight, and it'll dry, and then tomorrow I'll sand it, I'll knock it down, and then we start the really hard sanding process. Okay, so the wet sanding. We will be sanding. You can see the mold came out really nice here. There's some imperfections in the primer, but that's to be expected. We're going to sand that off. And that's all I'm going to be doing now, is all sanding. So I have 220, and I'm going to use 320 on this. I'm going to knock this down with 320 and see what that looks like. May go to 400. I don't know. I'm going to see how it looks after I get the 320. And then we'll start wet sanding, and I'll sort of update you each time I change. But this is all going to be sanding, so not too exciting. Not my favorite part at all. So stay tuned. You'll see me doing some sanding here, and we'll get back to it. I'll show you when I change. Now we're just wet sanding. So it's just going to be sanding and sanding and more sanding. Okay, so after 2 hours of sanding, here's what you get. And that's what you're looking for. It doesn't look very smooth now because it's not got that real shiny finish. But if this was 600 grit wet sand, and I just wanted to knock down some more of the bigger ridges in here, so I did that, and now I'm going to let this sit for a minute, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to do 1,000 grit, 1,500 grit, and probably 2,000 to get this like a mirror. Because when it comes out of the mold, it mirrors the surface it's molded on. So you want it to be really, that sanding, prepping this mold is everything. So stay tuned. We're going to do some more sanding, and I'll see it's nice and shiny in there. That's about where you want it. It's about as good as I can get it by hand. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put about 4 coats of this on, partial paste. Do not think you'll just use PVA and have the mold pop out. It just doesn't work that way. Do not skip the wax, or most likely what will happen is it'll come out, but you'll break this mold. especially my molds. They're really thin and not a lot of infill because I'm not vacuuming anything. So you want it to pop out nice and easy. So don't forget the wax. I'm going to put 4 coats of this on, and I'll be back. I'll show you what it looks like after the wax is on. And yeah, stay tuned. Okay, well this mold is just about ready. So hopefully you can pick that up in the light and you can see what that mold looks like. It's really nice. I put 3 coats of wax. I think I'm going to leave it with 3 coats of wax. It looks really good. I'm going to lay this up. The only thing that I have to do now is the PVA. So this mold's basically done, ready for layup. You can see it's got a very nice shine to it. It's a lot of work, man. I mean, it was more than I thought actually to get it to this point, and I'm still gonna have sanding work to do when I get her molded because there's still some little imperfections here. This took about 5 hours to sand and wax, so don't skimp. I'm gonna see how this comes out. I'll be documenting it all, even if it doesn't work. That way, if you're going to try this, you maybe if I make a mistake before you, you'll be able to learn from it. So stay tuned. I'm going to take a break now. I'm going to lay this up, possibly tomorrow morning. I don't know, but stay tuned for the actual layup process.